Senator Burston, thanks very much for your time this morning. We do appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule just to answer a few questions for the people of Australia.
Pleasure, Graham.
You were born and raised in Cessnock. What was life like back then?
Oh, it was pretty tough. We lived in a 6 metre by 3 metre garage. There was 5 of us, mum, dad. I've got an elder brother and an identical twin. I was an unexpected twin, so it was pretty tough on mum and dad in terms of coping financially, but we did, and here I am.
And what did mum and dad do for work back then?
Dad was a coal miner, but as soon as he started having children, he was not too keen on the safety factor of coal mines. We lived next to Bellbird Colliery, where 23 were killed in the early last century, and he went into working for Cessnock Hospital and ended up being a laundry manager. So he was not keen on being injured or perhaps killed in the coal mine back then.
Well, being from the Hunter Valley, it's very well known for its sports people like Don Schofield and Robert Thompson, John Sattler, just to name a couple of them. Did you play any sports as a kid growing up?
Oh, I played some rugby league, cricket, just what normal kids do, some athletics at school.
Growing up, were you a regular churchgoer as a youngster?
Yes, we went to the Methodist Church at Bellbird every Sunday. Mum and Dad insisted we did do that to make sure we had a Christian upbringing and had the proper values in life.
Having said that, and back in that day there was no Xbox or PlayStations, did you and your friends ever get up to much strife, doing pranks on each other or other people?
Well, I was an identical twin, so we got up to a lot of pranks. We swapped classes at school until we got caught and got the cane. We blew up a few letterboxes with tuppeny bungers, they call them back there. That's perhaps why they banned firecrackers later on. And no, we had a great time, and it was a fun upbringing.
What school did you go to as a kid?
I went to Bellbird Primary School, which was walking distance from home, and then Cessnock High.
And after Cessnock High, did you go on to any other further studies?
Yes, we both, my twin brother and I, and my elder brother later on, became apprentice boilermakers at BHP in Newcastle. A 5-year apprenticeship, when apprenticeships were real apprenticeships. And I then went on to an engineering associate diploma at Sydney and Newcastle TAFE, and became a design draftsman, and went on to become a TAFE teacher in engineering drawing.
Very broad range. Do you remember how much your first paycheck was?
Oh yes, I do, and I was only 15 years and 10 months. We got paid fortnightly. BHP was a little pay station at the exit gate. We were handed a little brown envelope, and I had $14 in it for a fortnight.
And it was cash back then?
It was cash back then. No such thing as cheques, I wouldn't think, in terms of pay. No, certainly no electronic funds transfer, because I don't think even computers were or calculators were invented back then.
What did you enjoy doing in your spare time? What hobbies did you have growing up?
Oh, 10-pin bowling, swimming, hiking. We went out into the bush quite a lot. We lived in an area where it was fairly sparse in population, and we would disappear into the bush and do some yabbying and so on. So yeah, we made our own fun. As you said, no Xbox, no TV until about 1955, and it was black and white. So it was pretty hard, and I just wonder how the young people of today would cope in those circumstances and environment.
You mentioned earlier you've had a number of jobs, from manufacturing all the way through to teaching. How was the transition to those?
Oh, I think it was a steady transition. I think having a trade qualification to start with gave me a great foundation for moving on to areas at a higher education level and skill level. And I think it's very important that if we can encourage people to go into apprenticeships to start with and then move from there, it's good for the country, good for the economy.
From those earlier jobs, what lessons about life did you learn?
Oh, work hard and you'll progress. It gives you plenty of discipline. It was pretty tough in terms of work ethics back then. There was no such thing as work cover, and if you're picked on or told to do something that you weren't happy with. There's no one to run and complain to. We just got on with our job and learnt from our mistakes if we made any, and progressed from there.
Where and when did you meet your wife, and was it love at first sight?
I met my first wife at Cessnock, and it was love at first sight, but we parted ways after about 23 years. I've met my current wife at Newcastle University, as a matter of fact, and no, it wasn't love at first sight. We knew each other for about 15 years before we eventually got married, and we've lived happily ever after, so to speak.
And do you have any children?
I have 3, my wife has 2, and we have 8 grandchildren between us.
What got you interested in politics? I believe you started in local government first.
Yes, I was elected in 1987 at Cessnock Council. Served 12 years, but Alison Davey, who ultimately became mayor and was principal of Bellbird Primary School, she asked me if I wanted to run for council. I said no, and she worked on me for about a month and eventually convinced me to run, and I was successful.
I also believe you were voted deputy mayor for a period.
Yes, 1997 I served the term as deputy mayor, and that was very enjoyable, where I substituted for the mayor when he couldn't attend civic ceremonies, and that was a very good experience as well.
What was then the transition to federal politics like?
I worked in state parliament soon after that. I was an advisor to a MLC, upper house member, and that gave me a lot of experience, and I ran for state and federal Parliament with One Nation over several elections, and fortunately this time I've been elected.
Taking on that role, being elected as a federal senator, did it take any time to acclimatise to Canberra?
Only in terms of the weather. It was quite cold, and it's quite cold now, about -3 overnight, but politically, no, it was pretty much what I expected. A little bit nerve-wracking to start with because it's intimidating, the red leather, if you like, and but I've found my feet now and I'm enjoying myself.
What are some of the major changes in society that you've seen over the years?
Well, it's mainly in terms of terrorism, I guess. When I was about, what would have been the mid-70s, we had all of those plane hijackings. The security forces overcame them by additional security in planes and screening into airports, but with terrorism, it's going to be a more difficult thing to control in terms of weapons they use. The weapon of choice now are trucks and cars and so on. So that would be the main one as far as safety and security is concerned, and because of that it's affecting our way of life in a sense as well.
Apart from your family, what's your greatest achievement so far?
Politically, obviously getting elected to the Senate and putting me in a position where I can hopefully make Australia a better place.
Is there anything you wish you could go back and do over again?
No, I've had a ball. I've enjoyed myself right through my life. My experiences have given me the life skills to progress to the position I'm in now, and hopefully I can utilise that when I make appropriate decisions in the Senate.
And finally, Senator, what are the goals you're still looking to achieve?
I'm looking to achieve a better Australia. Let's get rid of this terrorist threat, get rid of ISIS, make life a safer and better place to live. Let's look at budget repair, bring back the budget into surplus, and so that my children and my grandchildren can enjoy a life that I enjoyed during my upbringing.
Senator Burston, thanks very much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Graham.